Good evening, YouTube. It is time for the video of what I purchased during the month of August 2014. Now, I will give you a little spoiler alert and say that this video is nowhere near as long as my last one. I had a pretty good month of finds, but nowhere near on the level of the last month. I didn't do as much traveling this month. Focused on work a little bit more this month. Didn't have as much time off. So, I don't know, picked up some decent games, but nothing on the level of last month's video. So if you haven't had a chance, please take a look at that video, because it was pretty out of control. I got a lot of games last month. Last month was the big focus of kind of knocking out my Dreamcast US collection. I got very close to completing that last month. Let's see how I did this month in finishing that off. And we'll start off tonight with showing you some games I got for Super Nintendo. So this month I only got a few games for Super Nintendo. Nothing too mind-blowing, but we'll start off with F1 ROC 2. These are decent games. I don't know, I've got the first one already, but I think they're related to the Formula One Built to Win game on NES, which is actually a rather advanced racing game for its time, so it's kind of cool to get this. Next one is Saturday Night Slam Masters, which is Capcom's take on a wrestling game. I believe it had some of their Street Fighter characters in it as well, too. I haven't had a chance to try this one out. Next one is Lock On by Vic Tokai, and I think this is a flight sim, which not really in a flight sim, so probably won't give this one too much of a play. And finally, for Super Nintendo, one that I've been looking for a long time. I will say the label on this one's a little bit jacked up, but it is a very rare game, and I had a hard time finding it, so it's kind of cool to get this one in the collection, and that is Ogre Battle, The March of the Black Queen, which is a Atlas game for the system. Very cool to get this in the collection. I've been wanting this one for a long time, so cool to pick that up, Ogre Battle. Next, I'll show you a couple games I got for US PS1. And again, nothing really crazy here this month, but first of all, a new game in the arcade classic, I don't know, I guess it's a remake of the arcade classic, and that is Robotron X. And next, I picked up one that I've owned for Sega Saturn for a long time. It's one of my absolute favorite games of all time. Just never owned the PS1 version, and this one came in a big box version and also a regular jewel case version. This is actually the regular jewel case version, and that is Bust-A-Move 2 Arcade Edition. So cool to get that on PlayStation, because this is one of my all-time favorite games. Next system I'll show you is the PS2, and I only got a few games for that as well. First one of these is Vampire Knight, and this is one of the few GunCon 2 light gun games for the system, which is kind of cool. This is a port of a Sega arcade game, so it's cool to get that one. Next is a game that I own the import version of for many years, and played through that one, lots of hours through that one, so I don't know, I might actually start playing it again just to play it in English, but that is Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2, which in Japan this series is known as Kaido Battle. And I can't remember, I think this is actually Kaido Battle 3. It might be Kaido Battle 2, I'm not positive about that, but there was 3 of these on the Japanese PS2, only 2 of them came to the US. Finally, for PS2 was a game that was mega hyped whenever it first came out. Don't think it really lived up to the hype, and I don't know. I never played it, actually, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it is with a new perspective now, not really caring about all the people that talked about it when it came out. But that is The Bouncer, which was Squaresoft's take on a classic-style beat-em-up, which, I don't know, the graphics look really good for it, especially for being an early PS2 game, so we'll see how it is. I think it was just a little bit too movie-based and not enough action. That was probably people's gripe on this, but it might actually be decent now. Next system I only got one game for, and that is the Nintendo GameCube, and that is a first-party game called Geist. One of the more mature Nintendo titles for the system that probably didn't really do real well, but they tried. I mean, like I said, Nintendo really did a nice job of putting out some more adult games on that system. It was hard to kind of shake their image and go with that type of thing. So it's kind of cool that they did that. They went away from it a little bit when they got to the Wii, but the GameCube, they were trying pretty hard to have some adult games on it. Next system I got only one game for as well, and that is the Nintendo Wii. And this is one that I really love this series. I've been playing it since the Japanese Game Boy Advance version of the game came out, and that is Rhythm Heaven Fever. Haven't tried the Wii version yet, but I'm sure it's really good. They're just, I don't know, they're like micro music games that's really quick to play, fun, addicting, nice use of rhythm, of course, in the games, so it'd be kind of cool to play that, I'm sure. Next system is the US Xbox, and the original Xbox. and only got a couple games for that. First one of those is Spy vs. Spy. Just picked it up because I don't think I see it too often. This next game I've actually never seen before in the wild, so I picked it up just because I figure if I've never seen it, it's got to be somewhat rare, so we'll see. But that is World Racing 2, and it is licensed. It's got a lot of cool European brands in it. Haven't had a chance to try it yet, but yeah, it might actually be decent. I think there was also a World Racing 1 for Xbox that probably a little bit more common, but this one I'd just never seen this one in a store before, so got that this month too. Next system is Xbox 360. I only picked up one game for that this month, and this is one that I kind of forgot even came out because it was a Japanese developed game by a developer called G-Rev, which is formed of many former Taito employees, of which I'm a big fan. It is a kind of arena-style shooter game, so it's somewhat of a shoot-'em-up. And it was released here under the name Wartech. The Japanese name is actually the subtitle of it, so it's Senko no Rande. And kind of cool that at least they left that there. However, the U.S. cover art is pretty terrible. So, yeah, I'm glad to have it. It was a very cheap pickup, but you know, they didn't do a whole lot with the presentation of this in the U.S. Next system is one that I don't buy a lot of games for, and that's the Atari 2600. I just picked up these because my friend Charlie had some pretty interesting stuff in his store, so I don't know, I took a chance on some of these. I haven't had a chance to play them yet. The first one of these is called Crypts of Chaos, and this was I don't know, pretty late, let's see, 1982, so it was a little bit before the crash, but I don't think this one's very common. The next one of these is G.I. Joe Cobra Strike, and believe there was 2 G.I. Joe games for Atari. This might have been the second one, I'm not positive about that. But, you know, this was a very popular license at the time, so that was kind of cool that that came out. Next one of these is called Off the Wall, and it appears to be a Breakout/Arkanoid type game, so kind of neat to get that. I like these late maroon-colored Atari 2600 labels. Some of the last releases on the system I think are kind of cool. This next one is one I have been wanting for a while. I was very excited he had this. And this is actually a Nintendo arcade game, a very early Nintendo arcade game that only came to Atari as far as a home port. But that is called Sky Skipper. And the arcade version of this was actually kind of notable because it had cursing in the text, which Nintendo, you'd think early Nintendo never would have that. So it was kind of cool that that existed, and it got an Atari 2600 port. Haven't had a chance to try it yet, but I mean, I've watched a lot of videos of this. It actually looks like it's kind of cool. This next one is a very cool label, and this is one of the Sega games that came out for the Atari 2600. I believe there was 8 or 9, and I have like 7 of them. So I would like to get all the Sega cartridges because a lot of them were arcade ports of some of their own games and some other people's games. Their cartridges just have a nice look to them, very high quality. They've got this little grip handle on them, they call it. The back has an embossed Sega on it too, so it's kind of cool. But very nice to get this, so it's called Subscan. And finally for the 2600 is a game called BMX Airmaster. There is a very rare label variant of this. This is just the more common version of it, but kind of cool to get this. It's one of the later releases too, so yeah, I don't know, kind of neat. BMX Airmaster. Next system I'll show you is the US Sega Saturn, and I only got a few games to rate this month as well. First of all, I got a Stunner light gun for my friend Bob, and just never had the official Sega light gun, which actually is a nice quality gun. It's got a nice feel to it, so it's kind of cool to get that. Next, I got just a couple games, and the first one of these is Street Fighter Alpha, and just a port of the arcade game. Next one I got is Street Fighter Alpha 2. So I'm well on my way with my Street Fighter collection on Saturn. The only thing I need is the very expensive Street Fighter collection, which is a collection of some of the early arcade game releases. So looking for that one too. And finally for the Saturn, I picked up Croc, Legend of the Gabos. I owned this game when it came out. It's an okay platformer. It's nothing great. I don't know. We'll see how it is with some time on it now. But yeah, I played through it when it first came out. Kind of beat it. I think I got tired of it. So, oh well. Kind of cool to get that. Next system I got some games for is the Sega Genesis. And bought a few more games for Genesis this month. Some of these are loose. Some of these are boxed. And some are complete. So I'll kind of show you the mix here. First one of these is Strider 2. And this has a long extra title. Let's see. Journey from Darkness, Strider Returns. Don't think it's a port of the arcade game. I think it's a Euro-developed game in the series. Not supposed to be very good, but yeah, I'll give it a play, see how it is, because I do like Strider games. Next one is Virtual Bart, which I believe is one of the rarer Simpsons games on the Genesis. If it's like most of the Simpsons games that Acclaim put out, unfortunately they're very bad. I also got the original Strider, which is a port of the arcade game. This one, it's a good port, but it's kind of not a whole lot of reason to own this because there's a perfect port on the PlayStation that you can get. So most people would prefer to own that, which I do. Next one is Beast Wrestler, and this is one of the renovation titles for the system. This is actually in very excellent shape. I wish it was complete, but as far as just a cartridge only, it's about as nice as you can expect to find. Next one is Raiden Trad, and a fellow YouTuber called this the watermelon edition of the game due to the color of the label, and especially if you see the box art for this. I don't own the complete box of this, but it's very hilariously cheesy the way they designed the box art. And because of that, there was actually a more serious version of the box art that was re-released, just because I guess they were struggling to sell the game. This next one is one that is highly desirable, and been looking for it for a long time. I've owned the third game in the series for a long time. I've owned the first game in the series, just never owned the second one. So that is Splatterhouse 2. And it's a very nice card, actually. It's in pretty good shape. So kind of cool to get that. Wish it was complete, but I can deal with that. It's cool. Nice one to find. Next one is Vector Man 2. And I don't know, didn't really get into these too much, but I got it cheap. And the last loose one is Double Dragon 3, the arcade game, which not usually most people's favorite Double Dragon game, but it's kind of rare on the Genesis. It's more common on the NES, but this is the more desirable version of the game to find. And then as far as boxed and complete games, so I got Wayne's World boxed, which is just as bad as all the other ports of the game. I believe I own this on all the systems that it came out for now, which is kind of sad, but I do love Wayne's World the movie, but the game is terrible on all systems, unfortunately. This next one is another renovation game, which is very cool to get boxed, and that is Arcus Odyssey, and I do believe I'm getting very close to having all the renovation games. I think the only ones I need are Master of Monsters and Trazia, so I'm going to do a check and kind of see where I'm at on that in the next couple days, and kind of chase those down probably over the coming month. Finally, for the Genesis, and this is the only one that unfortunately is complete, is one that I really don't know a whole lot about. I just kind of picked it up because I don't see it too often. It's one of the thicker EA Sports style boxes, but it's one of their EA just regular type games. And it is Haunting starring Polterguy, which, looking at the graphics, it kind of looks like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but I don't really know if it's any good or not. Might give it a shot this month and see how it is, but one you don't see real often, so kind of cool to get that complete. Next system I have some games for is the Sega Game Gear, and the first one of those is Legend of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. Then I picked up Psychic World, and finally one of the more desirable Game Gear games is Defenders of Oasis, which I believe is actually a pretty good game. Want to play that one for sure. Next system I got some games for is the DS, and first one of these is Monster Bomber, which is a Taito game, so of course I had to have that one. Next one's one that I hear is kind of a cult classic. Haven't played it yet, but definitely a weird title for a game, and that is called Flower, Sun, and Rain, Murder and Mystery in Paradise. One of the digital comic type games, I guess, for the DS, of which there's many, so kind of neat to get that one because you don't see it too often. These next three games are all kind of girly games. It was kind of weird to get these, but they're all Japanese-style RPG games, I guess, for the most part. This first one I'd never seen before. I picked it up in a store just because I like Natsume games, and that is called Witch's Way, which I didn't know anything about this one. I kind of want to try it. Next one is a port of a PS1 RPG, and that is Rhapsody, a musical adventure. And finally, this one I haven't played yet, but I had to laugh just kind of reading through the manual in it. But this is an Atlas game, which of course they make quirky games. But this was called My World, My Way. And it's all about a entitled little princess girl who demands the RPG plays her way. One of the unique ways that you can do that is it has special pout attacks. So you can, if the game's not playing the way that you like it, you're not earning gold fast enough, you're not gaining experience fast enough, you haven't leveled up, that kind of thing, you can pull up the pout menu and call upon a pout attack that will cause those things to happen faster and alter the gameplay of the game, which I think is actually kind of cool. It's just kind of funny the way they did it. So yeah, I kind of want to play this. It's got to have a good sense of humor throughout, so just cool to get this just because very weird game. Next, I'll show you one game I got for the Game Boy Advance, and that is a complete copy of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which also includes 4 swords. Link to the Past is my all-time favorite Zelda game. I mean, I had it when it came out on Super Nintendo. I beat it, immediately, that kind of thing. But I played this a little bit. It looks like they've altered the game slightly. Just, of course, some of the graphics are slightly different on the Game Boy Advance. But I noticed there's some new sound effects too. So like whenever Link dies, he makes a little sigh sound, things like that they've added to the game. So I don't know how faithful it is overall. I mean, like I say, there's a couple things they've tampered with, but I'd like to play it a little bit more and just see how it compares to the original. Next system is the Game Boy Color, and I only got one game for that this month. It is a cool one though. It's one that you don't see very often. I had a hard time tracking this down. But this is a ninja action game, of which I love, and that is called Return of the Ninja. Next, I got some original Game Boy games, which I'm still trying to collect the complete set of those. Got a few this month that are kind of rare. Some of these are just kind of whatever, but some of these you don't see very often. First one of these is a port of Bonk's Revenge, which this is the second Bonk game, so it's kind of cool that this came out on the Game Boy. Actually, I'd never seen this before. I found it online, but this is one I've never seen locally. Next one of these is Fist of the North Star, which there was a Fist of the North Star game on NES. I don't know if this is the same game or just a new game in the series, but kind of cool that came out. Next one is another rare one for the Game Boy. I had a really hard time finding this game, and that is called Blaster Master Boy, which is probably the rarest game in the Blaster Master series. Played it a little bit. It doesn't really seem that great. It's kind of, I don't know, it goes off the path of the original, but I think a lot of people do like this game, so maybe I didn't give it enough of a shot yet, so I'll play it a little bit more and see. Next one is a port of the horrible movie, Dragon Heart, with Sean Connery, of course. Then we have one of the fighting games for the system that was brought out as an arcade port, King of Fighters 95, and that has Super Game Boy capability. Next game is Pac-In-Time, which is one of the Pac-Man, non-traditional Pac-Man games, but don't think this one's very popular. Next one is Kirby's take on an Arkanoid type game, and that is Kirby's Block Ball. And then we have one that, this is on one of the rarest games lists for the system, which I didn't really think it was that rare, but I don't know, maybe. It's Winter Olympic Games Lillehammer 94. Then we have another non-traditional Pac-Man game. This was a puzzle game. It's Pac Attack. This came out for several systems. It's okay. I mean, it's not one of the greater Pac-Man games. Then we have F1 Pole Position. And there's a few F1 games to the system. I think this is one of the more uncommon ones. And then finally, kind of a late release for the black and white Game Boy, and that is Frogger. This came out by Majesco like 98, I think, and this came out on Genesis and Super Nintendo too, which was, I think, the last game released on both of those systems. So kind of weird that this came out so late, but it did. And then finally for this month, so I told you guys where I was at on Dreamcast last month. I needed 10 more games. Did I make it is the question. Well, short answer, no, I didn't. I got very, very close though, so let's see where I ended up on my Dreamcast collection for the month. First of all, I picked up a brand new in-box VMU because with all the Dreamcast games I've been getting, I'm running out of memory. So I've got that to save some more of my games. I got a couple demo discs. This, I believe, was the one that came with the system whenever it was first sold. And this is just one of the monthly Dreamcast magazine discs. So I don't have all of these. I'm probably going to try to collect these. I'm not really super worried about it. But yeah, it's kind of nice to get those. I picked up the complete copy of Seaman, which is one of the big box games for the system. Did actually play Seaman quite a bit this month. It's kind of everything you read about it. It's slow-paced. It is a virtual pet. It's not really a game per se. You can kind of speed through the game though, playing with the Dreamcast clock. So that's kind of neat to tamper with that and do some of the cool stuff with Seaman. He is a smartass. He will say all kinds of funny stuff to you. So once you get into the game, it's kind of neat to play. The next one I got is a port of a game based on the Japanese movie The Ring, and that is The Ring: Terror's Realm, which haven't played this one yet. It's just another survival horror game, which there's quite a few on the Dreamcast. Next one's one I don't really care about, but that is Donald Duck Going Quackers. This next one, I think this is a very low print game. I've heard some other people say this is a very hard game to get on Dreamcast. It came out on PS1 as well, which is more common, I think. But that is Urban Chaos. And then we have Prince of Persia: Arabian Nights. This is the first of 2 King of Fighters games on the system. That is King of Fighters Dream Match 1999. This next one was a Sega arcade game, which was kind of low-key, but it is called Sports Jam. And it's mini-games based on all kinds of different sports. This next one was another one that was a pain for me to find. And that is KO the Kangaroo. And finally, for Dreamcast, I picked up Rayman 2: The Great Escape. So I am 1 game away now from my US Dreamcast collection. I actually won the game online this month. The seller has not ever shipped it. It's been a fiasco trying to get my money back. Still chasing it down. I'll just try to find another one, I guess. But that game is ECW Anarchy Rules, which I'm sure I've seen along the way, and I kept passing it up thinking, oh, it's just a wrestling game, no big deal, easy to find. Some reason that game is very, very rare on the Dreamcast, so that is going to be my my top quest for this coming month, is to get that game, get that collection behind me, and move on to something else. So hope you enjoyed the video. Like I say, it wasn't as big as the last couple have been. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video with friends, and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. So love to hear from you guys, and we'll see you next month, in the month of September 2014, with hopefully another great round of finds. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.